On this brisk afternoon, as we welcome you back to the macro world, we embark on an intriguing journey through the complex and often tumultuous battlefield of Eastern Europe. It's February 5th, 2025, a date that finds us at the heart of the ongoing conflict between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. Our journey begins in the Donbass region, a place that has become synonymous with struggle and resilience. In the small village of Zelenivka, nestled along the Suchialis, the Ukrainian armed forces have mounted a successful counterstrike. This small yet significant victory has tilted control back towards Ukraine, highlighting their unyielding spirit in the face of adversity. The Ukrainian military leadership, with their strategic prowess, decided to launch this counterattack when Russian forces encroached upon the settlement of Tiantinopol late last year. The sound of artillery echoes through the northern part of Zelenivka as Ukrainian units, bolstered by artillery support, push back the Russian infantry. This intense battle has caused the once red zones to fade into gray, signaling a shift in control. However, the situation remains fluid, and the precise location of Ukrainian troops in the village is still being assessed. The ongoing counteroffensive is believed to involve the 37th Marine Infantry Brigade alongside the 23rd Mechanized Brigade, marking a period of heavy fighting. Our narrative shifts to the settlements of Dakhny and Chivchenko, where Russian units are making concerted efforts to gain a foothold. Yet despite their attempts, significant Russian advances have not been recorded today. Just west of the Karacho Reservoir, Russian infantry has managed to advance, marking a new threat as they push westward by nearly a kilometer. This advance, while noteworthy, has only marginally adjusted the front lines compared to the previous day. As we journey north, we find ourselves at the settlement of Andriivka, near the village of Slovyanka. Here, Russian forces, emboldened by recent successes, are maneuvering westward. Their infantry groups, moving stealthily through a narrow gorge and adjacent forests, aim to reach the TR-15 road. Today's developments show a Russian advance of approximately 1.5 kilometers to the west. Meanwhile, heavy fighting continues unabated on the front section at Drivka, though new information remains scarce. In the city of Stachas, a correction is necessary. Contrary to prior reports, the 331st Regiment of the 98th Division, rather than the entire division, stormed the city's center. This distinction is crucial as we unravel the complex web of military movements and strategies. Moving to the Krai front, the Russian 144th Division has made notable advances both west and east of the Yaribs River, expanding its bridgehead south of Ivanivka. As they press toward the small village of Bilohorivka, their advance stretches up to 2.5 kilometers in the south, encompassing open areas and forest tracts. This marks a significant adjustment in favor of the Russian side, as the gray zones transition to red. In the east, Russian infantry has moved across open terrain, occupying stretches of forest and advancing nearly a kilometer south-southwest. The front profile here has been straightened, marking another shift from gray to red. Continuing our exploration, the unfolding events suggest that the Russian military is poised to secure the settlement of Turnus soon, potentially reaching the border of Jampolivka. This maneuver is part of a broader strategy to approach the city of Lyman, a city that once housed about 20,000 inhabitants before the war. The conflict has already seen control shift hands multiple times, illustrating the volatile and unpredictable nature of this battle. The Ukrainian side faces deteriorating conditions on this front, having lost several key defensive positions over the past 2 days. Ukrainian military bloggers have voiced their concerns, highlighting the precarious situation their forces find themselves in. Yet amidst this chaos, we turn our attention to the Russian bridgehead on the Ozgol River, north of Kupiansk. Here, the Russian 6th Army maintains a dominant position. The settlement of Doritna has become a flashpoint, with the Ukrainian military struggling to counter the Russian advance. Reports suggest that the Russian military command has even managed to establish armored combat vehicles across the river, further solidifying their position. In the north of Doritna, the Russian 25th Brigade has regained its bridgehead, extending their control over the entire Brivka quarter east of the R-79 road. This expansion has seen the ruins of these quarters fall into Russian hands, broadening their control area significantly. The Russian movement here has increased their reach by nearly a kilometer, with further advances in the northern Rakovo quarter securing additional sections of road. Thus, a considerable adjustment has been made in this area, transitioning from gray to red. As we continue to unravel the complexities of this conflict, it's notable that the Russian military now controls roughly half of Doritna. The fate of the Palatina and Kirpitne districts remains uncertain, with control of the Sagunevka district still contested. However, the trend leans towards a complete Russian takeover soon, as assessed by both Russian and Ukrainian military bloggers. The Russian military leadership seems intent on leveraging this position to threaten the city of Kupiansk. In our concluding segment, we shift focus to the Kursk front, where the Ukrainian military has achieved partial success. The settlement of Makhnovka, a highly contested area, has witnessed the use of fresh Ukrainian reserves to reclaim control. This pushback has forced Russian infantry to retreat southward, returning Makhnovka to Ukrainian hands. Such victories are crucial for the defense of the city of Suja, as the Ukrainian military strives to distance Russian forces from the city, pushing them back several kilometers. Elsewhere along the Kursk front, intense clashes persist, yet significant shifts in the front lines have not been recorded today. The highest combat intensity is observed around the settlements of Nikolsky Leonia, Malaya Lyokna, and Pogrebki. The Ukrainian armed forces have conducted another air attack, deploying approximately 30 drones over Russian-occupied territories. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported the interception of 31 drones, primarily over the Bryansk, Belgorod, and Kaluga regions. Despite these efforts, the Russian air defense was not entirely successful, as incidents occurred in the Russian region of Tatarstan. In Tatarstan's capital, Kazan, a notable attack targeted the Borysagelbsk military airfield, located in the northern part of the city. The attack aimed at Russian bombers stationed there, alongside an aircraft plant, as reported by Russian sources. Surveillance footage captured a Ukrainian drone approaching, followed by a strong explosion. Local reports indicate that the drone struck a fuel tank at the airfield, though it did not result in a fire. The airfield's 5 fuel tanks are strategically positioned, and today's events underscore the intricate dance of strategy and counter-strategy in modern warfare. The disruption caused temporary closures of civil airports in Kazan and the city of Nizhnekamsk, although operations resumed shortly after. Ukrainian air raids continue to challenge Russian defenses, highlighting the persistent tension in this conflict. As we draw closer to the conclusion of our journey through the war-torn landscapes of Eastern Europe, we delve into the broader implications of these ongoing conflicts. Last night's Ukrainian air raid was not an isolated incident. In response, the Russian armed forces launched a familiar counterattack using Shahed drones, with 141 of these threats deployed, including several decoys. The Russians also launched a ballistic missile of the Iskander type, aimed at the Kursk region. Ukrainian air defenses were on high alert, managing to shoot down 93 drones, along with 45 decoys. However, some fell onto Ukrainian territory, while 2 decoys drifted back across the border. The aftermath of these attacks, fortunately, did not lead to severe consequences. Amidst the backdrop of military skirmishes, the international political scene is undergoing a shift with the inauguration of the new U.S. President, Donald Trump. Russian President Vladimir Putin extended his congratulations to Trump, expressing Russia's openness to collaboration on resolving the war in Ukraine. Putin emphasized the need to address the root causes of the crisis, advocating for a long-term peace based on mutual respect for the legitimate interests of all people in the region. He underscored that the goal should not be a temporary ceasefire to allow for regrouping and rearming, but rather a sustainable peace that respects the complex dynamics at play. Trump has made it clear that he intends to bring an end to the war as swiftly as possible. As he steps into the White House, his initial actions will include signing a series of decrees aimed at addressing pressing priorities, with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict at the forefront. Both Russian and Ukrainian sides anticipate changes following Trump's inauguration, though the nature of these changes remains uncertain. Each side is wary of how these developments will impact their respective positions. As we stand on the precipice of a potential diplomatic turning point, the coming weeks promise to be pivotal. The diplomatic level of conflict is expected to take a more prominent role, with developments closely monitored to ensure no key events are missed. In this intricate chess game of geopolitics and military strategy, the stakes are high for all involved. The evolving narrative invites us to ponder the future trajectory of these intertwined nations and the broader implications on the global stage. For those who have found this report informative and engaging, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel to stay updated on the latest developments. By sharing this video on social media platforms like Facebook, you can help spread awareness and foster a deeper understanding of these critical issues. Your support is invaluable as we continue to navigate the complexities of modern warfare and international diplomacy. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to bringing you more insights tomorrow evening. Until then, have a pleasant evening and stay informed.